In my haste through playing Danganronpa recently and trying to get other things out and upload a video every day, I sort of forgot this series existed briefly. Probably with good reason, but here we are, we're going to carry it on. The last episode, we were discussing whether On the Clocks had a romantic or satirical interpretation of it. My interpretation of Stop the Clocks is that it's been someone really, really sad. Grieving is the word I wanted to say. I wanted to say weaving, and I was like, hang on a minute. I'm really sad he's gone. Just need to get that string through. It'd be weird. You see, well, look. It's a grieving poem over someone who's really, really sad that someone's been lost. I'm unsure how it could be interpreted anyway, unless you're ignoring almost all context. The romantic interpretation. Luke simply shrugs, a light smile playing on his lips. Most people do. Folding my hands on the desk, I lean forward, my interest now piqued. You know the kind of people who go, oh, most people do this. That means that they think they're unique and special, which normally means that they're a cock. Why don't you? It's quite a pessimistic view of the poem, isn't it? From a beautiful love poem to sarcastic mocking and rejection of romantic notions. Pessimistic, but realistic. I mean, don't get me wrong. It definitely goes overboard, but it's your lover of God knows how many years have died. What are you going to do? Oh, who would even think of grieving? I nearly said weaving. Grieving. I laugh in the face of these very people. Like, come on now. I tilt my head as his cryptic reply, realization slowly dawning on me. You don't believe in love? He gives a casual shrug. Perhaps. I gape in disbelief at his flippant attitude towards something as serious as doubting the existence of true love. Gape in disbelief at his flippant attitude. It's the writer. Quickly, fetch the thesaurus. I don't know, what's I want to say surprising, but we can't say that because we've already said it 5 times this fucking game so far. Flippant! That's a word that doesn't quite fit, but we'll use it. But how is that possible? You're a literature student. Everyone knows literature is full of poems and stories about romantic love. It's like one of the greatest subjects to write about of all time. I mean, so are music. The Osmonds sung about fucking love. Air Supply sang about love. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were romantics budding around with 2 roses in each hand just in case the opportunity were to present itself. Besides, what about the... I cut myself off, mindful of anyone else walking by who can accidentally overhear our conversation and learn of our secret. They're gonna think you're fucking crazy. If I walk past 2 people in a library and they were chatting about a conspiracy theory, I'd sort of roll my eyes and go, yeah, alright. Or think they're talking about drugs or something. Like, that's very odd. They need money to go and buy strings. I expected Luke to shut down immediately at the mention of the red strings, like he usually does, but surprisingly this time, perhaps of his good mood, he reacts differently. Oh man. He was in a good mood, so he just decided to tell me everything. He simply continues smiling and shrugs again. Poems about romantic love are overrated. What do you write about then? Everything except that: friendship, family, nature, life, death, you know, the certainties in life. Hang on, you don't believe in love, but you believe that true friendship is a certainty. Right? After all, love isn't everything, even though many people believe so. Still in disbelief, I can only shake my head. You are a walking contradiction, Luke. Love isn't everything. Unless you're 14. If love were everything, there would be a lot of people who didn't need to work for a living because all they could do was just love someone and that would somehow be enough. Am I? One corner of his lips tug upwards into a half-amused grin. Well, that's the first time I've been called that. I continue eyeing him with a mixture of confusion and fascination when he returns my gaze with amusement. A literature student who studies love poems on a daily basis but doesn't believe in love. and a seer of red strings of fate who doesn't believe in true love exists. My eyes flicker down to the absent place on his finger where his red card should have been, cord, and I can't help but wonder, could his attitude towards love have something to do with that? Oh, you reckon, do you? As though sensing my train of thought, Luke's smile dims slightly, and he remains polite and friendly. Well, as much as I want to stay and continue chatting, I'm afraid I have to run, or else I'll be late to my next class. Would you mind checking out the rest of the books for me? He tips his head in the direction of the book still lying in front of me. Oh, right, I almost forgot, sorry. I jerk back to action, rushing through the motions. When I'm finished, I hand the books back to him and watch as he places them carefully into his bag. Here, sorry about the delay. You're welcome, I just wanted to question you about something that doesn't matter. No problem, thanks a lot, Val, I'll see you around. Not with that fringe over your eyes, you won't. See ya! Slinging the backpack over his shoulder, he turns to walk away, and I can only stare at his retreating figure, my mind buzzing with more unanswered questions. Something I have come to expect as a necessary consequence to every encounter with Luke. Christ, that paragraph wasn't that hard, yet my mouth struggled. So, again, yet another example of a sentence that could be cut in half. I just don't understand why this needs to be as long as it is. It's so needlessly long. You know, Life is Strange used the kids lingo and still developed a good story with complex characters. Right? That's not achieved by sticking in a few fancy adjectives. That's not achieved through being verbose. I'm rather verbose myself, right? That does not mean that if I just write a character who talks like me, they're an interesting or good character. That would mean they're boring. If I just wrote them to be like that. Whatever. We're going on a tangent again, we shouldn't do. I've been on enough tangents at this game. I hum to myself as I make my way back to campus, my spirits high despite the long shift at the restaurant. A grin climbs onto my face as I slide my hand into my pocket. Hello. Feeling the heavy metal coins and crisp bills. I love it when some rich Chinese tycoon comes in for a meal and leaves a generous tip. Smiling to myself, that's not how that works. I continue down the street and spring in my steps. You have a tip jar which is split, don't you? You don't just fucking keep it yourself. Whatever. I peek in my watch, surprised to find that I'm actually going to be early for my shift at the library, since my shift at the restaurant ended early. In no hurry to arrive at my next part-time job, I left my footsteps slow. What do I do since I have time to kill? I mean, I could go back to my dorm room and work on my essays, but do I really want to? I make a face at the thought. I don't want to ruin my good mood with homework. I want to be flippant throughout life and not have to work. All you need is love. Sorry, I just shot myself. A couple is heading in my direction, laughing loudly at a shared joke, and as usual, my eyes are drawn to the happy couple. A quick glance at their joined hands confirms my suspicions that their strings lead to each other. How sweet. As they pass by, I can't help but overhear their playful banter. I'm not letting you choose the location of our date again. I've learned from the last disaster. Hey, that wasn't a disaster. I almost fell off a cliff because you had the brilliant idea of taking me hiking in high heels. I mean, that's not so much love is blind, so much as you need a new brain. We're going to the beach this weekend, alright? No ifs or buts. You're so bossy, but you love me for it. The boy sighs in exasperation, but the love in his voice when he speaks is plain as day. No, that's forced about being around in public and someone saying something like that. You can't embarrass them and be like, oh, no, I don't love you. I've been shagging your golf teacher. God knows why, but I do. The girl whispers something I can't hear, followed by a light giggle, the sound full of bliss. A wave of jealousy rushes through me, so acute that I freeze for a moment. My eyes flutter shut, surprised by the intensity of my feelings. I want that. I want to be able to have silly, flirty conversations with my soulmates like that. I want to be able to lean against his arm and stare up into his eyes like that. If you thought about something that doesn't look like you've stained coffee all over it, why is the universe so unfair to me? It's called RNG, probably, if you believe in soulmates, even though it doesn't exist. I swallow hard and try to shake these depressing thoughts away, so I can't think like that. Oh, no, I can't think like that. No, I'll find my soulmate soon. I know that. Of course you will. I try to redirect my attention towards my previous dilemma, finding something to do to kill time before my next shift. Perhaps it's because of the young couple's conversation, or perhaps it's because of my sudden emotional vulnerability, but the first place that pops into my head is the beach. I hesitate for a second. I haven't been to the beach in ages, not since my father passed away when I was a child. Great. What a wonderful thing to say. Too many memories, one can say. Alright, at that point you should have maybe have gotten over it. Maybe if it was just like he died of a heart attack in one specific restaurant, I can understand why you wouldn't want to go back there ever again, but the beach is fucking huge! You can just say, hey, can we go to another restaurant? You can't say, hey, can we go to another beach? It's still going to be a beach with sand and towels and people lying on them. Should I? In the end, the urge to feel the sand under my bare feet and dip my hands into the water wins out over my trepidation. I might as well, I have nothing better to do. I just stay there for half an hour at most. It'll be just fine. With a nod, I veer to the left, heading for the beach nearby. Setting a casual pace, I stroll down the beach, basking in the feel of the sea breeze kissing my cheeks. Closing my eyes, I let out a content sigh. I've forgotten how much I love the beach. If only. In a flash, childhood memories begin surfacing in my mind. Afternoons of walking on the beach with my parents, and yeah, look, this is fucking brilliant. It was a mistake to come here. Familiar figure. Is that Luke? There we go. I just skipped 7 lines and we wouldn't actually know that anything happened because of the 30 or 40 lines of setup beforehand. I watch as he settles onto the sand at a corner of the beach, a notebook in his lap. You are going to get sand everywhere, you're going to regret it, that is a horrible idea to go to the beach dressed like that. He seems focused on the happenings on his beach, not even my presence, and I follow his gaze. A family of 4 is sitting on a huge blanket, the children tossing sand at each other while the parents look on in the fond smiles. I return my gaze to Luke's hunched frame, who suddenly seems more vulnerable than I've ever seen him. Without thinking, I make my way towards him. He looks up when my feet stop beside him. Hey, Luke. Oh, hi, Val. What are you doing? Nothing important, just trying to find some inspiration for my next poem, I suppose. I swear, if you say write about love, I'm gonna kill you. He gestures at his notebook, and I sneak a quick peek at it. I turn his page on, is still mostly blank, other than a few illegible scribbles at the corner. Cock, cock, cock. Am I interrupting? Of course not. He pats the sand next to him as an invitation. I sit down beside him. He's warmed up to us very quickly for no apparent real reason. Fancy seeing you here. What? You've had the whole time to say that. Oh, whatever. I should be the one saying that. I didn't peg you as an outdoors type. What? Did you think I'd be the type to hole himself up in my room all day with papers scattered all over the floor and piles of books walling me in? I can't suppress a grin at the mental image. Oh, I can't help suppress a grin is what I think that was supposed to say. I can't suppress a grin. Okay, no, you just couldn't. Okay. Actually, yes, you are exactly that type. Luke shoots me a mock-worried look and I let out a giggle. How to Write 2 People in Love, 14-year-old edition. I'm a writer. Writers need inspiration. Yeah, I must remember all those times that C.S. Lewis went to the beach. Unfortunately for me, most of my inspiration comes from getting out there and observing my surroundings or admiring the beauty of nature. So you've gone to the most barren beach known to man. Got it. It's not even animals here. It's not even seagulls or birds. There's nothing. It's just sand and sea. As much as I want to live up to my stereotype, I can't. I'd never get anything done. Right, that makes sense. Any luck so far? I incline my head at his notebook and he grimaces. No, not really. What's the theme of your poem anyway? Maybe I can help. Luke's eyes widen slightly at my offer and I shrug. I'm not an amazing writer or anything, but I did take a few years of literature. I'm not that good at writing, but I did study literature for a few years. Right. That's probably good enough. And I'm studying journalism. I'm not terrible at writing. Well, I wanted to write a poem on family, but I can't really think of anything. I thought observing my family outings at the beach would help, but my mind is still blank. Oh. Well, yeah, of course it is. There's no people here on the beach. My memories once again flash across my mind and avert my eyes, overcome with emotion for a moment. How are you mentally unstable, like when he died all these years ago on a beach? I'm sorry, did I say something wrong? My eyes dart back to his, noticing the way he's watching my reaction with concern. No, of course not. It's silly. He closes his notebook, slipping his pen into his pocket and regards me a gentle gaze. I doubt it is. Maybe it's because of, it's nothing. It's just, I couldn't be asked to read that. It was probably pointless. It's just that my parents and I used to go to the beach very often, almost weekly. They met at the beach, you see. It's where they had their first date and where my dad proposed. When I was born, they'd take me here every week, teach me how to swim, play volleyball, build sandcastles, volleyball? How many people actually do that on the beach? The beach is a special place to my family. I haven't been to a beach since my dad died when I was 6, so I'm just feeling emotional right now. All I can think of is how he'd hold my hand and we'd stroll down the beach, leaning down uncomfortably to accommodate for my height. The worst part is I don't remember much about him other than these memories. Aware of the tears threatening to spill over, like, that was 2 more lines of absolute nonsense, I can guarantee you. I give my head a hard shake, putting a stop to my torrent of words. I'm sorry for this rambling, I'm fine, don't worry about me. Yeah, you seem fine, he said, lying. No, don't apologize, I'm glad you trust me enough to tell me about this. You've definitely changed your attitude recently. I shrug and give a sniff, his gentlemanness calming me for some reason. I'm sorry for your loss. I know how it feels to lose a dear family member and how frustrating it feels to not be able to recall important moments with them. I tilt my head at the sorrow of his tone and can't help but ask, your grandfather? And my parents. Oh, I'm so sorry. We went to cuddle him. They died when you were 2, alright? So you don't remember anything about them. You can't imagine what it must be like. Don't worry, I accepted it a long time ago. Like you should, Valerie. His eyes meet mine at the corner of his eyes, and the corner of his lips tug upwards into a teasing smile. Besides, my grandparents are great, especially with birthday gifts. Oh, that's hilarious. Any normal person would react the same way, especially... He makes a high-pitched squeal, apparently trying to imitate me. I'm a quick reader, so I hope you guys... There's nothing being missed. Everything I'm skipping or not reading out is useless. Thank you. For what? He gives me an innocent smile, a knowing glint in his eyes. Nothing. I should be the one thanking you. I think I have an idea what I want to write for the poem now. Really? That's great. I met a cock called Valerie. What the fuck rhymes with Valerie? Why can't I think of a word? Valerie? I guess anything that ends in L-Y, but it doesn't really work. Oh, well, I tried. Since I helped, reckon I'll get to read your poem someday? Sudden flush spread across his cheeks. Well, maybe. You're really missing out if you continue avoiding the beach. Thank you. Should I let go? No, we shouldn't let go. We should keep harboring these thoughts.